Go to New File and make a project according to your need. I'm going to make a 16:9 composition. You can import your image by going to File, or you can drag it from the File Explorer. I'm only going to explain what we are going to need in this tutorial. Brush tool to paint, pen tool to cut out, and eraser to erase. To move the composition, hold spacebar and move your mouse. And to zoom in and out, hold Z on your keyboard and move your mouse right to zoom in and left to zoom out. Now let's fix this. Select the pen tool and make a head-like shape. Press Ctrl plus Z on your keyboard to undo a step. Once you are done, hit Selection and OK. As you can see, the area is under selection. Now select the brush tool. You can adjust the size and hardness of the brush from here. Making a selection is important because when you paint, it won't be applied outside of the selection. Now click on the layer to make it a smart object. Press Alt on your keyboard and select the color of its hair. Now draw. It's not perfect, but looks better than before. Press Ctrl plus D to deselect the selection. Now select the pen tool and make a clean selection of the character. Once you are done, go to Selection and OK. Select the layer and press Ctrl plus J to make cutout of the selected area. As you can see, the cutout is done. You can delete the original layer. Now, cut out the hairs using the same method. Once you are done, go to Selection and OK. Select the layer and press Ctrl plus J to make cutout of the selected area. Double-click on the layer to rename them. To hide or unhide the layer, click on the eye logo beside the layers. Make cutouts of every side of the character's hair if you can. It looks better when you animate. I'm just making a rough selection since it's a tutorial, but you guys better be clean with it. I highly recommend to rename every layer. It reduces confusion later on. As you can see, I've made cutouts of the hair. Now we have to erase hair from the character. To do that, select the brush tool. Adjust the brush size and hardness according to you. Hold Alt on your keyboard and select the color of its face. In my case, I haven't colored the panel because it would take too much time. Now paint on the hair. Paint the parts which you've made cutout of. I hope you understand the process of making a cutout. Remember the steps of how to make a cutout and how to paint the area, because we are going to do it very often moving forward. I'm not going to explain the process every time. Use eraser tool instead of brush tool in the area outside of the character. Let me hide the background. Now fix all the things which needs correction using the brush tool.
You've gotta know that this ain't living, but we could.
Moving on to the eyes, select the upper lid of the eye and make a cutout like this. Do not forget to rename the layer. Next, make a cutout of the lower lid too. And lastly, the eyeball. Once you are done, you'll see something like this. Do the same with the left eye. Once you've made cutout of both the eyes, hide those layer and paint the face using brush tool. We are mostly done here. If there are any irregularities, then fix them. Now make a selection of the face of the character. Then right-click on the layer and duplicate. You don't need to rename this, then hit OK. Select the eraser tool and adjust its size. Then hide the duplicate layer and erase the selected area from the original one. Once you're done, select the duplicate layer and hit Ctrl+J to cut out the face, then delete the duplicate layer. As you can see, we have separated all the layer which we are going to animate. We are done here. Save the file using Ctrl+S. Create a composition same as you made in Photoshop. Press Ctrl+I to import. Import the Photoshop file which you saved. Here, select Composition and Import Kind. And in Layer Styles, select Editable Layer Style. The project is imported successfully. Drag the composition into the timeline. Double-click on the composition. Here you can see all the layers. Let's animate the eyes first. Select the eye parts, right-click, and pre-compose them. Press Enter to rename the comp. Do same with the other eye. Select the comp and double-click to go inside the comp. Here, select the upper eyelid and grab the puppet tool. Now make marks like me. Press U on your keyboard to see the keyframes. Select the keyframes and slide it into the middle. Now go to the beginning of the layer and close the eyes like this. You'll see something similar to a blink. Select all the keyframes and press F9 on your keyboard. Go to the graph editor and make a graph like this. Make sure that you've selected the speed graph. It can be better, but it's fine. Next, let's animate the other eye. The process is same as before. Here, select the upper eyelid and grab the puppet tool. Now make marks like me. Press U on your keyboard to see the keyframes. Select the keyframes and slide it into the middle. Now go to the beginning of the layer. If you are unable to see the points, then go to Effects Control Panel and click on the puppet tool. It's visible now. And close the eyes like this. Select all the keyframes and press F9 on your keyboard. Go to the graph editor and make a graph like this. Okay, the eye part is almost done. Now let's move on to the hairs. Select the layer, Enable Solo. Now, make a few points at the top and 1 point at the bottom. Next, move a few frames and move the bottom point. Again, move forth and move the point. Press U on your keyboard to see the keyframes. Copy the first keyframe and paste it in the end. Now if you play, you'll see the hair moving. Do this to the rest of the hairs too. Select the layer, Enable Solo. Now make a few points at the top and 1 point at the bottom. Next, move a few frames and move the bottom point. Again, move forth and move the point. Copy the first keyframe and paste it in the end. Now do this to the last one too. Once you are done, go to the icon. Press U, copy the keyframes and paste them a few frames ahead. You can repeat it several times. It depends on how many times you want the character to blink. Next, go to the other eye and do the same. We are done with the eye and hair movements. Now select all the layers except the body and pre-compose them. Next, make keyframes on rotation and position. Press U to see the keyframes. Now change the values of both until you get to a natural position. Next, move to the middle and change the values to default. Select the keyframes, press F9 To easy ease, go to the graph editor and make a graph like this. Now, go to the end of the layer and change the values again. Select the keyframes, press F9, and make a sharp graph. The basic animation part is done, but you can still edit this a whole lot more. You can see there is a problem in the upper part of the head because I didn't fill it perfectly in Photoshop. Go to the eye and add tritone to the eyeball. You can add any color you want. Copy the effect and paste it on the other eye as well. Let me add some zoom in and out transitions. It looks average because I did it quickly, but if you take your time, then you'll get very good results. That is all for this tutorial. I hope you've learned something from this. If you have any doubts, write it in the comments. Check out my playlist for more After Effects tutorials. And thanks for watching.